Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Douglas Adams once wrote, "I may not have gone where I intended to go, but I think I have ended up where I needed to be." How might this quote describe an experience in your life? In the IITs I lived in Springfield, Mo, and absolutely loved it there. Never wanted to be anywhere else. My wife finished college and got a job in another state not far away. I didn't want to move there but did reluctantly. Within a couple of years, I absolutely loved it there. Made a ton of friends, had a great job, and couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Lived there 20 years and thought it would be where I die. Last year we moved to Connecticut, again for my wife's job, and I love it here too and can't really imagine moving back. It turns out, it's not the place I live, but who I live with that matters. My wife is my home, and where she is where I need to be. I want to be a house husband too. I had planned my life's endeavor. But my life had plans for me. Just as long as we're together, I am where I'm meant to be. I also choose this girl's husband. So a little over 2 years ago I dropped out of college due to financial issues. I was a shell of myself for a while after that, felt like a complete failure. I had been going to school for automation and robotics technology. I moved back in with my dad and took a job making disc blades for farm equipment. When I went to college, part of why I chose what I did was that I didn't want to do heavily manual labor. I left that to move 30 tons of steel by hand each night. I didn't really hate the job, it was nice to see the product I made in the fields all around. There were actually some blades made in that plant sitting outside my dad's garage, though they were probably made 30 years before I worked there. I took pride in my work but I hated my life. My manager would ask me nightly when I was going back to school. He would tell me that I could do a lot better than I was. It really dug into me. I contemplated suicide a lot during that time. After working there for almost a year, massive flooding in the Midwest coupled with a trade war with China had us only able to work every other week. That wasn't working for me, so I decided to put in an application to work for a major window production company that I had interviewed for an internship with while in college. They hired me on for production. During the interview I had told them about my college experiences and that I had interviewed with the company previously for a position in another plant. I also told them I was interested in working maintenance. A couple months after starting that job, a maintenance position opened up and our practically harassed me into applying. I ended up getting the job. It's not uncommon for people in the program I was in to end up working maintenance, so it was a major success for me. Things were definitely turning around. I started that job in January of this year. A few months later we had a new machine coming from our main plant, which is close to the college I attended. I recognized one of the guys who came to help set it up. He was in college with me. I went and talked to him and it was great to catch up. The best part was seeing that I was in the same position as someone who had completed the program. That was when I realized how far I had came from when I dropped out. I was not a failure. Despite everything I was succeeding. The odds were not in my favor and I was pulling through. Fast forward to this last September, 2 years to the day since I dropped out, 1 week after my birthday. My job started sending me back to school, paying me to go to class. That was the day it really hit me. I was exactly where I belonged. This is what I have wanted for so long. This is my dream job. I make great money, I love the work I do, the company I work for is great to its employees. This is it. I can't put to words how lucky I am. So many people search their whole lives and never find a place where they fit in like this. This is not the first time I have typed this out, but every time it brings tears to my eyes. I don't know many people that are as happy with their lives as I am, and I just feel so lucky. I feel your luck lies in walking such a crooked path that you ended up at the door of gratitude. Millions of people graduate into their dream jobs and end up hating it. Life threw you a lifeline. It showed you other options before finally landing you back where you first were. Your life sounds like a rom-com, but instead of a prince you got the job. I feel your luck lies in walking such a crooked path that you ended up at the door of gratitude. Sometimes roads you walk are long. Leave you feeling none too strong. Sometimes roads are traveled slow. Lead you where you're going though. One part that stands out to me is that one of my biggest goals in life was doing better than my parents. I grew up poor, I was homeless twice as a kid. Now at the age of 22 I am making the median income for my state. I am making as much as most households with 2 incomes and I am barely an adult. Also, the journey I took to get here would make a great movie, with highs and lows leading up to a happy ending that leaves plenty of room for growth. It's been pretty funny at times too. It took several years to conceive our son. By the time he was 3 years old, we had tried many times with medical assistance for a second. We have up and started an adoption. Well, after we got all the paperwork together and sent off to China, we found out my wife was expecting. Okay, we can deal with that. As my wife put it, what's the worst that could happen? But the ultrasound showed that it was twins. So my kids are 18, 14 and 14 now. It's not what we would have ever planned, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. My cousins also struggled with infertility for several years and started fostering a baby boy in September with plans to adopt him in a few months. 1 week after they got the foster baby, they found out they're pregnant. In April they'll be welcoming a daughter and they'll be eligible to adopt their baby boy. It's amazing how these things work out sometimes. Love these comments about adoption. When I was younger I used to sleepwalk. I walked straight to the end of the hall where there were 2 doors, one to the bathroom and one to my older brother's room. Opened the door, lifted the lid, and peed. Turns out I had opened the door, lifted my brother's blanket, and peed. Not where I intended, but I finally got back at that jerk for farting on me for years. Not where I intended. He pretended to sleepwalk for a year to set this up. I was a certified Ford mechanic. 2008 to 2009 happened, and no work was coming in. Got a job offer to teach auto mechanics in Iraq to the new Iraqi army. As a result, I learned I have a passion for people trying to better their life. I ended up sponsoring my Iraqi interpreter to come to the US. Since then I came back and finished my degree, and now I'm in learning design at an amazing company. My Iraqi brother is now married here in the States to an amazing wife, and they have a kid. He has a great job and is finishing his degree as well. Life can be an amazing journey. Enjoy the ride. Those last 2 lines are very, very true. Yeah. Life is a street. I'm gonna drive on it all evening far. I got home once and absent-mindedly threw away my socks for no reason. I just took them off and put them in the trash. When I realized what I did, I dug through the trash only to find out that both socks had holes in them. Turns out they belonged in the trash anyway. I've never found a quote that described that situation more perfectly than this one. I guess maybe you noticed the holes before, but only subconsciously remembered them. While getting my degree, I was just taking classes that interested me that also had to do a little with my major. Turns out I was getting my minor in chemistry without even realizing it. Are you me? I always tell people I did my degree ass backwards because I started in engineering, made about 5 changes to my major and ended up in chemistry. Got a job in concert security. Somehow. I'm a tiny, incredibly non-intimidating 5'4" female who at the time had waist-length blonde hair. I was terrified and had no idea what I was doing. Anything involving security is not something I ever imagined my quiet self doing, and it really shocks people when they find out. But I gained so much confidence from that job. You have to be pretty assertive to tell a sexist old redneck white guy that his pocket knife is not coming in no matter how much of a tantrum he throws. I learned pretty quick not to take any shit from people like that. Also got to interact with artists and other celebrities occasionally, which is an interesting experience and entirely different skill set. Still no concerts where I am thanks to COVID, but I'll be going back to that job as soon as I can. Man, I don't think I could do security of any kind. Way too stressful. Also I don't want to deal with a bunch of drunk assholes. I did security at a Meads lumberyard for about a year. Had to get the police involved 4 times. Once for a guy trying to run me over, and 3 times on Amish customers who were blatantly trying to steal. I'm a tiny, incredibly non-intimidating 5'4" female who at the time had waist-length blonde hair. Man, short girls can be scary af. Chihuahua syndrome. I think life is happier when you learn to let go of the what if. And appreciate what you have. Live in the moment. Not recklessly, but appreciatively. Slow down and cherish what you have, because it may not be there tomorrow. People seem to think they'll only ever be happy when they reach a certain goal. When X happens I'll be happy. I try to appreciate what I have right now and the journey I'm on. I may have an average car, rented house and little family, but I love all these things. Yes, a ton of money would make it easier to buy things, but I'm happy where I am right now and loving the journey. P.S. Have a great Christmas all. I was nearly involved in a fatal traffic accident tonight. Car 6 feet in front of me got T-boned by a girl going 50 miles per hour through a stop sign, so your comment really speaks to me. So true. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. Gavrilo Princip. So that's what G-man stands for. Difference. The right space in the wrong place can make all the difference, to a quote.